almost said morning. It's 12 o'clock. Good afternoon, I guess. This is installment 1 of my June reading vlog. I'm starting The Next Day by Melinda French Gates. I just thought it'd be a good book to pick up because it's about like dealing with change and stuff, and since I just finished my master's degree, definitely need some insight on that. And also Melinda French Gates funded the scholarship that I used to attend undergrad, so me and her go way back. It's 1:20 now. I'm about halfway through already, so I could probably finish this today actually, but it's pretty good. It's pretty easy to read, and the story itself is pretty interesting. It's just about like different parts of her life when she went through transitions. So like she talked about going to college and having a friend that passed away from cancer, things like that. And so yeah, I've been enjoying it so far. Okay, it's 3 o'clock and I just finished the book. It was pretty good. There was a focus on really listening to your inner voice and letting yourself kind of not be so tethered to the goals that you set for yourself and kind of allowing for spontaneity and things like that. And I think that's something I've been at least trying to get throughout my life, but it's something I'm still working on. So it was pretty inspiring to read that, just to know that there is light on the other side of the tunnel, so to speak. And even for people in high places, they still have like the same internal challenges that a lot of us face. So it was good to hear. Hi, it's been like 3 days since my last entry, but I actually read The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert, and I didn't record anything while I was reading it because like I was reading it as an ebook. And I mean, like, it was entertaining. I went in for a romance and that's what I got. But ruminating on it afterwards, I'm like processing how insane those characters were, honestly. Like, the basic plot is that the female main character, her room gets flooded in her apartment, so she has to relocate, and she ends up moving in with her male best friend for like a month or whatever, right? And like, it's supposed to be like friends to lovers, but the way these two act, it's like they were like borderline in a relationship before the events of the story even happened. Because like the things they were doing, like friends don't do that. Like they were like cuddling already, and it's just all this stuff. And like once they move in together, I think it just gets even more unhinged, because at one point he took her to IKEA to get like decorations for her room in his apartment, and like for some reason it comes up that she wants to have kids, and so he makes a joke like, oh, I guess you're gonna get a sperm donor then because she hates people. And then like it devolves into them saying basically he's gonna be the one to get her pregnant. And I'm just like, why are we having this conversation in an IKEA right now? This makes no sense. So that happened. They're living together. Things ensue, of course. Then we get towards the end of the book where they actually like start talking about their feelings, and of course she runs away because she's avoidant or whatever. And this culminates in the guy missing like several weeks of work without notice, and then they just took him back afterwards. I'm like, how did you not get fired? And also, you really didn't go to work for multiple weeks just because you got dumped. And then there are also like signs throughout the book that like other people knew like how they felt about each other, but it was just kind of never really revisited. Like at one point, I think the woman told her dad that she was living with the guy, and he made some comment like, I don't know why he does it to himself. And that was just never revisited. I thought it was gonna get revisited at the end because there's a scene where she goes to talk to her dad, and I thought it was gonna be about the guy, but it was actually about like her mom abandoning her or whatever. And like there's just no acknowledgement of why the dad even knows that the guy has feelings for her. But anyway, then there's also like this whole thing with like the guy trying to be the man at the house because his dad died. And also like there's a scene after the dad's funeral between the two main characters where it's just like, I don't like the implications of this scene. I hope that gets unpacked. And it just didn't get unpacked. Ever. So, oh my god. This is a problem when you have, like, a mindless romance read. It's never mindless, because you think about it for longer than 5 seconds, and you're like, what is this, actually? So yeah, that was that. I'm flying home to North Carolina in a few days, so I'm trying to decide what book I want to bring with me. I usually don't get a ton of reading done on the plane because I'm either like sleeping or doing something else, but if I have time, maybe I'll read something. Whether that's an ebook or a physical book, I haven't decided yet, but yeah. Okay, it's 2 days since my last entry. It's 3 a.m. I'm going to the airport, and I decided I'm going to be reading Now You Owe Me while I'm at the gate. Okay, update. It's 3:20 and my lift still isn't here yet, so we'll see how much reading I actually get done because my flight board's at 4:30. Hello from North Carolina. I did get some reading done in the airport. And so this book is about two twins who are serial killers, and I basically just read the first chapter that kind of covered their backstory. And basically they saw their father kill someone when they were 7, right? And on the news they later said that the guy who was killed was just missing. So one of the twins, Corinthia, is convinced that the guy came back to life. Kid logic, because they said he's missing. They didn't say he's dead, so that obviously means he's not dead. And so Corinthia and Ben, her brother, they eventually start going around like hurting animals, hurting other people, because they're convinced that anything they hurt is gonna come back to life. And Corinthia is kind of the boss of the two. Like, she really pushes her brother around. And even their family members and their neighbors, etc., they realize there's something off with the twins, but there's not much that can be done about it. And then there's one scene where Corinthia suggests killing their younger brother Luke, because once again she's convinced he's going to come back to life. And Ben is like, no, that's a bad idea, I'm not doing that. They get in an argument. Ben like shakes the tree that they're in, and Corinthia falls and gets winded, gets hurt. And so Ben is worried, he's upset, but then Corinthia is fine eventually. And so basically she's like, you thought you were gonna get rid of me, but now you owe me. And that's the title of the book. So that's how far I got. Seems pretty interesting so far, so I definitely like to see how things turn out, especially in their adulthood, because if they're already wreaking havoc at like 7 years old, I hate to see the damage they do as adults, honestly. So remember when I said Corinthia was kind of the mastermind of all of this, kind of like pushing Ben around? I'm now realizing that Ben is also the problem, because we jump forward a few years, they're teenagers now. Corinthia has someone that she is attracted to, and then Ben decides to go torture this person, basically. And then Corinthia gets upset because she's like, this person's gonna tell about what happened, so now we have to kill her, basically. And then after this person is dead, Ben is like, Corinthia, why would you do this, blah blah blah. I'm like, why would she do this? You started this, actually. So now they're both the problem, so that's where I'm at. Those two are also very codependent and like obsessed with each other. It's something. At the same time, I feel like in the narration their thoughts are not very clear. Like, I didn't really know what was going through their heads during the scene where they were killing this person. So I hope that gets explored a bit more, because right now it just seems like they're kind of just feeding off each other just for the heck of it. So last thing before I'm done for the day, we have time jumped again. We are now adults, I think like 22, 23. And now the MO is that
Ben is kidnapping girls who remind him of his sister because he's obsessed with her and she's the only person who ever cared for him or whatever, because their mother treated him badly and blah, 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 but whatever. And I'm just like, they're now in a situation where Ben is the one abducting women and Corinthia is the one like begging him to stop, and she helps him out by killing the girls that Ben kidnapped. And I'm just confused by the flip of the dynamic where Corinthia is now the one trying to convince Ben to stop, because I feel like there was not enough build up for that dynamic to change. Like, I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't think we're getting enough character development time. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe we'll see. I don't know.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Hi, happy Sunday. I finished Now You Owe Me, and the ending was definitely not what I expected. I still don't like it, but I think it kind of excused some of it. I literally had this whole like rant planned about how like some authors want to send like a feminist message but also have a female antagonist, and how like you can't have it both ways if you don't execute it well. But that doesn't even apply anymore, because turns out Corinthia was dead the entire time. The big plot reveal at the end is that Corinthia is Ben's alter. He has dissociative identity disorder, which already made me go like, oh, come on. Like, that's a cop-out. But, like, I think that kind of explained the inconsistencies in Corinthia's personality that I pointed out. So, I don't know. But basically, the whole premise of the book was that the twins, because they're not really alive twins, were abducting and killing women, but they abducted the wrong person, which is implied to be why they got caught. And so I thought the wrong girl was going to be the girl that they had at the beginning of the book, which they had a girl named Tallulah. But then Tallulah dies in like chapter 5. So I'm like, okay, I guess it's not her, or maybe there will be some repercussions for this. But no. Then we transition to part 2. Turns out Ben and Corinthia aren't really the protagonists. They're like decoys, and the actual protagonist is a black woman named Amanda. And listen, the book is written by a black author, but Amanda still feels like a caricature of a black person, because everything about her internal monologue just irritated me. Like, her Instagram handle was literally Ebony Snow Queen, and like they kept name dropping all these brands and Instagram handles. I'm just like, why are we talking about this right now? Who cares? But anyway, I found Amanda very annoying. But basically, Amanda has a white roommate named Fiona. Blonde woman, fits the criteria for the victims that Ben and Corinthia are targeting, right? So Fiona's abducted. Amanda makes a whole big stink about it, because of course she would. They're best friends. And in typical thriller fashion, she really butts her head into things that she doesn't need to be in. And I don't know if I'm just getting annoyed with that part of the genre, but like I feel like people should just like not put themselves in situations they shouldn't be in. Like, I know it has to happen for the plot, but I'm starting to get a little irritated by it. But either way, this all culminates in Amanda tracking Corinthia back to her house, and she breaks in to rescue Fiona or whatever. Then basically Fiona flees, leaves Amanda behind, and Amanda is taken by Ben and Corinthia. And also, while Amanda is in captivity, she literally threatens Ben with the wrath of the Black Lives Matter movement to get them to let her go. I'm like, are we being serious right now? But anyway, Amanda being caught and Fiona being free means that the police are now on Ben and Corinthia's tail. So they flee. Amanda's supposedly in the trunk, and Ben and Corinthia are in the front of the car. Then Ben gets pulled over. He gets arrested. They ask, where's your sister? He says she's in the car. They look at the car. They don't see anyone. So they ask again, where's your sister? He's like, she's in the car. Thinking, the passenger seat. No, Corinthia's dead in the trunk, and Amanda's not there. This was another one of those books where the length of the book really hinders any actual development of the characters or the plot, because it felt like everything just moved too fast, and like I didn't care about anything that was happening, or I was outright annoyed by what was happening. So yeah, that's my take. I'm now reading Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn to cleanse my palate. It's like I blinked and it's already June 29th. So I started Sharp Objects. It's pretty good so far. I definitely like the pacing a lot more compared to the other books I read this month. And so I'll have to wrap this vlog up basically by tomorrow. I don't know if we'll finish the book by then. But yeah, I think it's been pretty good so far.